Yeah, okay. All right, thank you. So, Voyager arrives. We see Titan has a whole bunch of atmosphere, 1.5 times the surface pressure that it is here, and you can't see through it. It's a bunch of fog. Chemically, it's a lot like Los Angeles on a good day. But we began the fog began to lift as we got better and better instruments, and now we have Cassini out there that is actually peering through the fog and seeing the surface in infrared. This informs our art again. We're able to make better guesses on all kinds of levels. The highly successful Huygens probe built by the European Space Agency actually landed. It sent us aerial views as well. And so we know what the rocks look like, at least in one place. We know what the sky looks like from the surface experientially. And so we can make guesses as to what it looks like down there. We've also discovered lakes of liquid methane. It rains methane there. It rains water here. And out there, the water is like granite. It's so cold. It rains water here. So very, very strange alien environment. This painting by Stephen Hobbs is a depiction of what it might look like down there on the surface. So over time, our art has reflected our changing view and changing knowledge of this little world. Now, there are some weird things going on Titan, very don't understand, just like Mars. There's a lot of stuff on Mars that we don't understand. And this is great for people who write literature and write music and do painting, because it inspires us to do weird art. One of these places is called Hotel Arcus, and some people believe that there is a cryovolcano, a super cold volcano there that is changing the surface. Here is a little movie. Here's a little movie. There it is. It's only 3 steps. Watch carefully, but there is a change that happens over about 8-month period in this area. Now we're looking at it in the infrared. It's very low level resolution, but still you can tell that something has happened there. Something has changed the surface. What could that be? One of the most obvious solutions to that question is cryovolcanism, something erupting. So I was commissioned by JPL to do a painting of that area. This is the highest resolution that we have of it. It's about 1.3 kilometers per little pixel. And these dark areas that you see are possibly flows of cryolavas. So what we decided to do was set the viewer down on the lower right side of this image, look toward the mountains to the south, which is up at the top. And so this is the painting I did for JPL. We see methane rain up in the sky there. But again, remember the Huygens picture, okay? I looked at that and could make my sky a good guess. I looked at the rocks, I could guess what color the surface was. You do have to make a few leaps of estimated guesswork here and there, but that's the fun of art. Mars, throughout the ages, has, of course, been depicted in art, and it has affected our art. Antoniadi did this picture. This is an early map of Mars. Percival Lowell was responsible for a lot of what we believe about Mars. He thought he saw canals that may have indicated dying civilizations, and so this inspired a whole bunch of art. Frank Frazetta did covers for John Carter of Mars, the series that was written in the turn of the century, I think, early 1900s, right? And Michael Whalen did this cover for my personal favorite, Ray Bradbury's Martian Chronicles. This is another one from Edgar Rice Burroughs, where the Martians play a game of chess with real people and high stakes. You don't want to lose that game. But in the early 1900s, the director of the Meudon Observatory Lucien Rudeau, was an oil painter, and he decided to try to paint accurately what he saw through the telescope, making scientific guesses. And you can see that this image of Mars holds up very well today. This one of Mars from Deimos, he very carefully calculated how big Deimos or Mars would look in the sky. There were other artistic renditions that were maybe not quite so accurate. Bonestell in the 1950s did paintings that again reflected the more sophisticated science. H.G. Wells wrote War of the Worlds. George Pal did the original movie. Here's the new one with Tom Cruise. Mel Hunter did this for National Geographic. And you can see that at this time, in the 1960s, we were beginning to get a little bit more accurate feel for what Mars was like. The air is thin, there's radiation on the surface, it's cold. He has this crystalline creature in the foreground that is being shielded from the radiation by its shell. We've seen the biggest volcano in the solar system. We've seen faces. Some people saw faces even before telescopes there, and they heard voices too. This famous image from Viking inspired all kinds of things, including this painting by Bob Eggleton for a novel. It's very fun. You can see the face on Mars there at the left. Here's the real face. Mars Global Surveyor gave us this image. Of course, some people believe that NASA went to a great deal of trouble to erase the face, and this is just what's left. It's very possible. And fortunately, science has informed filmmaking as well, and we have more accurate movies now, like Total Recall. Some of the art comes from our little robots. As George Butler can tell you. Beautiful self-portraits that Spirit and Opportunity have taken. Very elegant images coming back from the red planet, from the microscopic to the landscape. A lot of space art has been done in the corporate world. Chuck Bennett, for many years, worked with Martin Marietta and did some beautiful things. Bill Hartman is a great example of the synthesis, the combination of art and science. He's an astronomer and has also done beautiful artwork for many decades. Dan Derda did this painting of an extrasolar planet. Don Davis did this painting of Tunguska, the impact over Siberia. I think this is the most beautiful Tunguska image I've seen. Ron Miller, another very famous space artist, did a painting of the birth of the Earth. Carter Emert, someone that we all know who have been involved in Case for Mars and the Mars Society, has done a beautiful job of depicting some of the early concepts from Case for Mars. Bob McCall was, of course, the unofficial main artist of NASA for many years. Very inspiring work, murals and magazine work. Andrei Sokolov in the Soviet Union is a hero in that country. He died a few years ago, but very talented. Marilyn Flynn, a good example of a person who is interested in the very human side of space exploration. Kara Zathmary gets into spiritual themes. And this is by Paul Hoffman, who, by the way, is here and put together the IAAA slideshow, which we'll be showing later today in this room. So it comes in many different shapes and sizes and forms. Space art informs us and inspires us. And now I'd like to take a few minutes to hear from other artists who work in a variety of forms, a little window into what they do, and then we will have some time for discussion. So, Andy, would you like to kick it off? All right. You want to just switch? Okay. We'll be right with you.
It'll come up. Just give it a second. There we go. Okay. My perspective on space art is as somebody who grew up with it. Hang on a second. I'm having this.